Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to both of you for being here today with your families. It's certainly an exciting day for everyone, and I'm excited about your leadership and look forward to that. And Mr. Lindberg, Mississippi leads the nation in catfish production, yet our producers face a lot of unfair competition, unfair subsidized, low cost, and sometimes unsafe imported catfish, particularly from Vietnam. Growers in Mississippi and across the South raise high-quality, sustainable, grown farm-raised catfish, and they follow very strict environmental, labor, and health standards. And how will you work with the U.S. Trade Representative and the USDA Food Safety and Inspection Service to ensure strict enforcement of inspection standards to prevent unsafe imports from harming consumers and domestic catfish producers?
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate this, and we discussed this in your office, and I very much look forward to working with you and your staff to ensure that our domestic catfish producers do get the market here in America that they deserve. Certainly, somebody will have to explain to me someday how the United States of America, with two oceans on each side of us and the mighty Mississippi and the Great Lakes and all of these things, and yet we're importing 75% of our seafood that we consume. I will absolutely work across my agency at USDA, should I be confirmed with this role, to ensure that exactly what you're saying, as well as with our interagency partners, to make sure our catfish producers have the ability to sell here domestically.
Thank you. And Mr. Westhill, Congress in 2023 provided $3.7 billion in relief to support producers who had experienced economic losses due to the natural disasters. Unfortunately, the Biden administration changed the emergency relief program without input from Congress and with disregard for congressional intent. As a result, some of the hardest hit producers were left behind while they also wrestled with historically high inflation input cost and also the low commodity prices. Will you commit to ensuring fair and equal access to USDA programs for all farmers, regardless of operation size and the background?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. And I think it's important for me to say that I have to ensure that I skate within my lane. My job, if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed, is to ensure that everyone who wants to do business with USDA, any of the customers in any of the areas across a very big department, are able to do that without any arbitrary barriers on any basis that's covered under civil rights laws. I commit to ensuring that individuals will be free from discrimination and participating in any USDA programs.
Thank you. And back to Mr. Lindberg. The livestock and poultry producers in Mississippi and around the country have taken huge financial hits from animal diseases like high-path avian influenza. And some countries like China use these disease outbreaks as an excuse for unjustified trade barriers that are not science-based. And we saw this in BSE in early 2000 when it took 13 years for China to buy our beef again. And it is something that I worked on as the Mississippi Commissioner of Agriculture and Commerce during that time, that was just their excuse. You had an outbreak. But what steps will you take to ensure that international trade restrictions imposed on U.S. products are science-based and lifted promptly when conditions warrant?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. I 100% believe that tariff barriers are one aspect of trade policy that countries use to against our farmers and ranchers. There are a lot of non-tariff barriers, and one of the ones you're discussing today is vitally important to them to have that market access and be able to get beyond that. As the Undersecretary for Trade and Foreign Agricultural Affairs, I will lead the Codex Office, which is our effort to work with the agencies around the world or different countries around the world to make sure we have a set of agricultural standards that meet the needs of our farmers and ranchers. That would be one avenue that I would work through to make sure that exactly the case you're listing here today was fixed, and through that avenue, make sure that we set the appropriate standards that benefit our farmers and ranchers. I'm also a fierce advocate. I want to show up in those countries and knock the door down and say to them, it's time to open up and it's time to move forward. And this is no longer acceptable under President Trump and the America First trade agenda. And so I look forward to doing that and getting on an airplane and being there to actually make sure that those get implemented in a timely manner.
I look forward to that as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.